Hello there lads, my name is Seymour and I work in the local colliery and live on Miners Row. Now, don't suppose you know there's a war on and what that means? Yes, we are fighting a horrible enemy, but I can't seem to recall who they are. Thank you. We're fighting the Italians and the Germans, going on 4 years now. It's 1943 already, can you believe it? Now, as you can see, I'm not dressed in an army uniform. I'm dressed in my civvies, civilian clothing. And I'm not fighting overseas. I'm stuck here, back in old Blighty. This is because I'm a Bevin boy. This means that I was conscripted through national service to work down the coal pit instead. See, this fella named Ernest Bevin, he's a minister for Labour and National Service, decided that it was better for men aged 18 to 25 that weren't enlisted in the armed forces yet to be put to work down the mines, as coal production is really important to the war effort. I've heard you're all healthy lads of enlistment age. Have you put your ballot in for national service yet? No? No problem, we can do that right away now. So, on the sheet provided, I want you to fill in all of your details and then we can send it off. Now, not every lad would become a Bevin boy. It was only 10% of those 18 to 25 year olds that would be chosen fortnightly to go and work down the mine. But you wouldn't be known by everyone like men from the army are. You wouldn't have that same status. You'd be known as a volunteer or an occupant. You wouldn't be able to walk down the street in a uniform with pride and prestige. Sadly, people may think you're a conscientious objector. Do you know what that term means? Yes. It's someone who doesn't agree with the fighting. They don't like violence. They want peace just like the rest of us, but not at the cost of the violence it takes when fighting a war. All done. Great. Now, if we gather them up, we can put them into the post box and see who is going to be enlisted. Right. Ooh, getting close now. Who's going to be chosen? Ooh. So, the whole class has been enlisted. New recruits. Now, need to train you first. This next bit, I'm sad to say, is a lot like school. And sorry to all the teachers out there, but it's very boring. See, you have lectures in a classroom, a lot like your classroom, and you've got training in a training colliery in surface and underground techniques, as well as a lot of physical exercise, which is not the nicest. You need to be really tough and strong to be a Bevin boy and work on the coalface, but nobody likes physical exercise, do they? No. And we have to do this for 4 long weeks. Yes, a whole month of physical exercise, drills, and lessons. Honestly, I tell you, I was ready for training to be over and for my first proper day of work to start. Which now, yours will be soon. So, have we all had our medical examination? Great. And have our work permits been printed? Good. We can now approach the lift, or the cage as we like to call it. But we don't have access to the coalface at the moment, so we are going to reenact a Bevin Boys first day down the pit. Are we ready? So I want you to stand up as we're approaching. Stand up straight, and as we approach, we're going to drop in the cage. Once we're all crammed in, all of us together, every one of your class is going to be in the lift at the same time, unfortunately. And we are going to start mimicking the drop. So it's going to be a slow bounce, a jutting motion. So we're going to jut. Yes. We're going to jut. It's not very nice. We've got to do this down up to 11 feet into the ground. And your eardrums can hurt from the pressure. Or you can even get a nosebleed. Oof, it's not very nice. So we're still jutting. And then, as we're deepening into the ground, we're going to come to a quick halt or stop. So we're jutting, and then we're going to rise up, stop. Ooh, it's not very nice, is it? Especially early in the morning. It's not what you want. Now, once we exit the cage, we're going to be underground. So, even with our boots on, the ground is going to be uneven and really hard to walk on, so I want you to stomp. Big stomps, lifting your knees up. And then I want you to sway. Just be careful. You don't sway too fast, so that it makes it even more difficult for you to walk, even with your heavy boots. Now, it's a long trek. We've got to walk so far, and we've reached our destination, so you can stop. But the area we work in, the site isn't very nice. I hate to tell you this, but it's really small and it's really cramped conditions. So what I want you to do is I want you to crouch down on the floor. If it's safe to do so, even crouch down under your desk. I want you to know how small it is, especially with the different shafts underground. It won't be that tall in there, so it's really crouched and it's really tiny area to work in. It's not very nice and it's not very light in there. It's quite dark. So that's what you've got to look forward to, sadly. So now, from your crouching position, I want you to slowly get back up, have a bit of a stretch, shake all your muscles out. Whew, we made it. Whew, I'm glad we survived that. So I thought, even though we can't get to the coalface, I can show you a picture of it. So this is where you'll be working. Can you see down in the pit? It's not very nice, is it? It's small and cramped like we just discussed, and it's quite dark. Oh yes. And down there we'll be working alongside experienced miners that weren't called up, and they do most of the main coal work. So as you can see, this is a picture that was taken earlier from our colliery, and you can see the older workers there. They are hacking and cutting the coal. Now our job is to grab, you can see these are the worked pit beams. It's our job to grab them and replace them. And then we need to fill the buckets with the coal that they have cut and send it back up, and then get the empty buckets and refill them. So those are two of our main jobs. It's quite hard and strenuous work, but worth it in the end for the war effort. Now, the conditions down there aren't very nice. As you could see from there, as well as being cramped, it's really dark, like I said earlier. There's hardly any light apart from your lamp. It can get really hot or really cold in there depending on the time of year or the job you're doing or how many men you're working down there with. And it can also be very dirty and dusty, and I hate to say it, but very smelly. Not nice being stuck down there all day. So you're stuck on long shifts and there's no toilet down there. So best make sure you go before you head down. Otherwise you could be caught short, which is not great. But there tends to be a lot of hazards there as well. So a lot of places you could cut yourself, you could get a lot of bruises. And it's really loud sometimes from the machinery that's being used, both above and below ground. It's not very nice. You've had the sound from the cage, and now you've got constant machinery around you. And one of the main scary things is the potential for fire. There could be a fire in there, or there could be an explosion, which means a rock fall, which could get you trapped, or it could just be all rocks tumbling and get you hurt. Which, I don't tell this to scare you, it's because I'm telling you of the risks, and we have to be really brave as Bevin boys, just as brave as those older miners. But thankfully, once we get out, our colliery has an in-house shower. So once we've finished, we can go to the showers before we put our civvies back on, and we feel better and refreshed. So, how would you feel on your first day down? Oh, don't be embarrassed. It's okay to feel scared or anxious. It's a new experience, and also everyone feels like that. My teeth were chattering the whole way down the drop in the cage. Yeah. I think some of the other lads were as well. And the long walk to where I was working, my legs were like jelly. The ground was uneven, my legs were like jelly, but I survived. I survived the day, my first day down the pit. And then I got to go up and have a bath and then go and have some food, which was lovely. Now, would you like to come and work with me? Would you like to be a Bevin boy? What? Of course not. I understand, but it's for the war effort, and we need to pull together. And within the first week of me working down there, I got to know all of the other miners and the Bevin boys I was working with, and it was really lovely. You'll soon fit in. So, what would a Bevin boy wear? Now, would he go to work in his Sunday best? Of course not. One, it would make him overheat. It's too many layers, especially in winter. And for another thing, it can get dirty and smelly through working in the mine, and I don't think you want your best clothes to be ruined like that, do you? No. So, this is a couple of those older miners down in that colliery. So, can you see what they're wearing? Yep. And then, another little thing, can you see those support beams? You can see them a little bit more in this picture. So, they aren't wearing so many layers because it's hot or cold, it's dirty work, it's difficult work. You're not going to want to use your best pair of clothes. But what are we going to wear then instead? So here is what we're going to do. I have this picture of a miner signing out his work kit. Together we are going to create a Bevin Boys work kit. Now I think you have had a box of items. So what we are going to do is, one by one, I want you to bring up the item, say what it's made from and why a Bevin boy would need it. Let's start. So, first item. Good one to start with. So, we have helmet. Now, yes, it's made from metal, correct. And why would they need it? Yes, to protect their heads from any falling debris down in the pit. So, they were actually quite ill-fitting. My friend Frank doesn't really like wearing his. He doesn't like how it squashes on his head all day and it's really ill-fitting, but he'd rather wear it and save himself from having anything fall down on him. Good first choice. Now, what's next? Ooh, interesting. So, steel-capped boots. What are these made from? Yes, metal and then leather. Why is that? Yes, perfect. Those uneven floors we were on about earlier, you need something sturdy to walk in, to walk on the uneven earth, and these would help, but they're very heavy. Having worn them for quite a few months now as a Bevin boy, I can tell you they're not the nicest thing to wear, but you'll be happier for them when you're walking on that uneven earth. So what's next? Yes, a nice pair of overalls. See, thankfully I've got mine to wash. I would show you them, but they're very grubby and I'm a little bit embarrassed about how dirty they are. So on the odd rare chance I get a day off, I've decided to go and wash them afterwards. Yes, these are brilliant. What are they made from? Yes, quite a nice tough cotton material. Yeah, quite thick, definitely. Yes, this is your work outfit, so it may be one of the only things you wear down there clothing wise, as you might want to wear layers underneath it. But if you're going to get really hot like those miners I showed you, you might want to roll it down and tie it around your waist. Makes it a lot easier to wear, so you can cover yourself if it gets colder, or you can roll it down if it's hot. They are really good, and unlike the hat and the shoes, they're quite nice and quite comfortable, and I quite like them as well. Mine is a navy blue. I quite like them. So, next thing on the list, what have we got? Oh yes, I think this is one of my favourite items. Yes, the snap tin and water bottle. What's it made from? Metal. Most of these things are made from metal, aren't they? Yes. I think it's a better material, safer material for down the mine. Yes, I like it because I like to put a bit of tea in there. I know, it should be water, but I like a good old cuppa, so I like having that in my bottle. And my snap tin, I get to put my sandwiches in. I have some food when I come up, but I do love my grub. So when I get a chance to have a sandwich, I do like it. I'll eat it and then I'll chop the crust. Don't want to get all the dirt onto my sandwich. It's not going to taste very nice like that, is it? No. And with the amount of dirt and dust down there, sometimes when I bite into my sandwich, my teeth mark is like black. It's all the soot and soil on my teeth, all the dust. So when I bite my sandwich, I've got a black mark, like I've been wearing lippy. Now, we've got a few extras in there. What extras have you got? Ooh, thank you for mentioning that. Got distracted by food. Now, I'm not allowed to take this out, so that's why I've got a picture for you. Yes, it's a heavy duty miner's lamp. Made from metal. Good old metal. And why do we need it? Yes, so we can see in the dark, because it is pitch black and very dark. What's another thing that we've got? Another one of my favourites. Can you see that there? Yes, it's the pit ponies. And that is where they live. Underground, would you believe? Yeah. They live underground and they get to come up to the surface for a week or so at a time over the holidays. It's lovely for them. Now, I love these pit ponies, especially Mary. They're really lovely to have animals down there, and they help with the work, but also they're quite clever. So if our lamps go out and we're in pitch darkness and we cannot find our way back, we just have to hold their tail and they will guide us right back to the cage so we can exit the pit. How clever is that? They're beautiful creatures. And they're a lovely friend. Anything else you've got for me? Yeah. My friend Frank prefers the birds. They're another one. They can spot anything like gas, which is helpful. And they're another companion down in the pit, just like the ponies. Nah, I don't know where Frank's coming from. I honestly prefer Mary the pony. She seems lovely. And never one for birds, me. So, you're recruits, you've had your first day, you've got your work kit, but where are you going to live? Now, would you want to commute to work so every single day you have to get up from your own home and go all the way to work? No, you wouldn't. Especially because you're working such long hours, so you need to be near the site and near the coalface so that you can just go home and rest. So the work may be tough, but the housing is like a summer camp. It's truly magical. Now I can show you the plans for it. If you look here, can you see that? These are all the rooms. And best part is, we don't have to share. I had to share back home with 3 other brothers. Oh, it was horrible, but not now. I get my own room to myself. These are all the rooms for all of us miners and Bevin boys. And as you can see here, these are all the different lounges. So we have a quiet lounge, a tea lounge. We even have a games room. Very excited for the snooker table. And this down here is a sick bay. It's very important to have one on site, and I'm so thankful to them. My mate Frank got hurt on the job and he had to be sent back to the sick bay, and then he got to rest up in his own bed. How brilliant is that? You can see on this one, you can see more how big the lounges are. They're really good. But I think I can show you what it would look like in your time. It's a little rundown, I have to say, but as it was more like an army camp or a posh house. Can you see? All of those were the bedrooms, all the individual spaces. And that's what it looked like. A big hut. Just for us. Now, you would have to pay your board, which you know as rent. So, out of all my monies, it would cost, out of me $3.50 a week, it would cost $1.25, which is roughly about 2 shillings. Look at that there, 2 shillings out of me pay, and with our King George VI on the back. Would you look at that? See, it's not too expensive to live there. It's a really nice place to live, and you get the camaraderie from all of the other Bevin boys. The work may be tough, but we get to make long-lasting friends there, and we get to go into town. So we get to go into the nearest town, eat at the lovely restaurant, and also we might get to go and see a show. There's not too much on because of the war, but we can still go see something in the cinema. We can still go see some shows that are being put on in the music halls. So it's a hard life, but when you get time off, it's really nice. Ooh. That was a long shift. Gosh, the time has flown, hasn't it? So, as honorary Bevin boys and our newest recruits, I thought it would be lovely to finish on the Bevin Boys song. Yes, we have our very own song. So, you've got the sheets provided. We are all going to join in and have a nice old sing-song. Now, ready? I'm going to warm up the pipes. La. Right, I have a beautiful singing voice if I do say so myself. Now, let's all start. Ready? Right. We had to join old Bevin's army. £3 a week and bugger all to eat, hobnail boots and blisters on our feet. We had to join old Bevin's army. If it wasn't for the war, we'd be where we were before. Bevin, you're barmy. We had to join old Bevin's army. Our number's out the hat, but we don't know where we're at. And we're going down the mine and we have to serve our time. We had to join old Bevin's army. If it wasn't for the draw, we'd be off to fight the war. Bevin, you're barmy. We had to join old Bevin's army. £3 a week and bugger all to eat, hobnail boots and blisters on our feet. We had to join old Bevin's army. If it wasn't for the war, we'd be where we were before. Bevin, you're barmy. Brilliant, that was really good. We've got some brilliant singers. We'll have to start up a little chorus group. That's quite nice, little Bevin boy band. Now, what can you tell me about that song? Yes, it was very funny. Do you think these Bevin boys were a bit cheeky? Yes. Do you think they were making light of what they'd gone through? Yes, they were using humour. They were having fun, having a laugh about what they'd have to go through. I think it's nice. They've decided to use some light-hearted comedy instead of dwelling on what they've gone through. So, as Bevin boys, you'd have to be working up until 1948, as the war ended in 45, but we really did need coal production to be at an all-time high to fuel the nation even after the war ended. So your service won't be done for another 5 years, sadly, but we appreciate it all the same. Now, Bevin Boys didn't get the same status as those that served in the armed forces. So soldiers got NAFI facilities, they got concessions on tobacco, confectionery and rations, which would have been nice for us. We love our grub, us Bevin Boys. Now, they also got leave and a demob outfit, so that when they were on leave back home or even after the war, people could see that they had served and were soldiers in the war from their outfits. They also were able to get campaign medals and be remembered for what they had done, whereas us Bevin Boys didn't get that. Nobody really understood what we'd done for the war or for the home front, which was crucial. It was important, those fighting abroad, to help the war, but much was needed on the home front at home as well, which you'll be glad to hear. We got recognition in your time, so we are able to have a Bevin Boys Veterans badge, wearing mine right now with pride. But sadly, there's those of us like my friend Frank that didn't manage to survive to see us get recognition, but his family did. He got the Bevin Boys medal, which showed his family and everyone what he'd done for the war effort. Do you think this is right though? Do you think us Bevin Boys should have got more recognition for what we did on the home front before? Yes, I agree. It's nice that we remember the soldiers, but we should also remember the home front heroes that helped us along the way. Now, there's no questions. I will see you bright and early for work tomorrow. Bye, chaps.